What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It is 3:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I cannot sleep, so I am cruising through the net. I'm actually on Reddit, and I wanted to do a quick little video on the 411 missing people to bring more attention towards this. We have so many distractions of dumbness going on in the world that the real stuff is getting looked over like it's non-existing. So I'm gonna only play a little bit of this. I do want you guys to check out this YouTuber. I'm gonna pop the name up right here so you guys can see exactly who this is. Okay, I've subscribed, I've hit the like button, and we're gonna play a little bit and you guys can check out the rest of this. Okay,
it's possible that it's some kind of military experimentation or fine-tuning of their technology, or maybe it's not their technology.
Well, and I'll just stay in the science realm for a second. There's a couple of videos that were made by some companies that show their stealth technology. I've seen it in almost a blanket type of format where you pick up a blanket and it appears as though it's directly like the area around it, so you can't tell that something's picked up, but whatever's behind that, you can't see it. So there is some stealth technology going on right now that is phenomenally good that could, you could wrap somebody in something and take them away. The issue with that is that obviously the person would scream, there'd be drag marks, unless there's the technology that you could just remove them from the area quickly using this stealthy type thing. But again, that's something that's out there right now that somebody had brought up to me a few years ago, and I said, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you'd really have to zap them in an instant, and it'd have to remove everything that they're touching, regardless of its material type, because otherwise they drop their gun, they drop their hat. You'd see blood if it was something really violent, but again, it's just not there.
And then probably one of the other things I get a lot of, and I'll talk about it because this came out of the first movie, is people said, well, it's pretty obvious what's happening to these kids is that they're getting picked up by a giant bird and they're getting flown away. That way there's no tracks and there's no scent. And I said, yeah, but you're forgetting something. These kids are disappearing in sometimes extremely close proximity to the parents. If a giant bird picked up a child and their talons went into that child strong enough that it could lift it off the ground, that would be a huge wound, and that kid would be screaming their heads off.
Mm-hmm.
And when the child was eventually found, those wounds would be evident in the kid.
facts.
And none of those things ever happened.
And the second film is called The Hunted. I'm sure that is a catchy way to insinuate that these are all Hunter cases, but also kind of implies that you think something is getting them to some degree. I mean, is that right?
Well, all of the movies and all of my books start with Missing 411, and then whatever the name is. So Missing 411, The Hunted, it was a takeoff of, the movie's about hunters, but who's really the hunted in the movie? Is it the hunters going after the deer? Is it the hunters going after the bear or the elk? Or are they the hunted?
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's odd about the prospect of it being a military operation or there being some kind of advanced hunter that's out there in the woods waiting to pick people off on the edges is just how much space this covers. I mean, 60 clusters. You've gone all across the English-speaking world. It's hard to say it's a government project because the coordination between all these different countries, it wouldn't really be there. And it can't be just something in Yosemite because this is happening all over the place. I guess if it was something hunting them, it would be something that has no problem getting around the planet and is just leagues above us.
Well, I think the people who are just listening for the first time probably think, well, this must be an issue for the last 50 years. But since I've started to write the books, I've found identical disappearances that match our profile points going back hundreds of years. So no, this isn't a local issue, and this is not just a a recent issue. About 2 weeks ago, I got an email from a woman who lost her husband in France hiking, and it's an exact profile match. Now, I never heard about this case, and again, it may be a language issue. Maybe search and rescue doesn't get the publicity. Somebody goes lost in the mountains, no big deal, and it doesn't get the worldwide publicity that it does. If this woman hadn't contacted me, I'd never have known about her husband.
I'm sure that happens a lot at this point, right?
Yeah, it does.
So another thing I like about your work is how you break down the terrain and the landscape of some of these cluster areas, because those are important.
All right, guys. So like I said, this is a really good interview. It's 2 hours long. It's worth it. I didn't want to take too much from it because I want this to be brought to the YouTuber who's producing this information. Guys, this stuff is real. My dad did work for the National Park Ranger Service in Pisgah Forest, and I'm working on trying to sit down and talk to him and, ask him about his experiences and some of the stories that he may have heard. So give me some time. I hope I can get that as soon as possible. But you guys, please do your research. There's more going on out here in this world. Okay, guys? Like, for real. Like I always say, man, do not obey. Stay woke.